Joe, buddy, Joe.
What's going on?
I'm feeling it tonight, man. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Have a good day.
Yeah, man. Had a good day. I sure did. Did you?
Never had a bad day. Never had a bad day in my life. So
never. Hey, as long as you're not 6 feet under, I guess it's not too shabby. Hey, Joe. I know you can't hear it, but all of our friends out there that start hopping on, tell me if you hear the tunes. Tell me if you hear the tunes. We can turn those up just a little bit. I'll give you the backstory behind the tunes in just a second.
Is it a little snappy music like this?
Man, I'll tell you the backstory in a minute. Hey, what's up, John? What's up, Super TA? Appreciate y'all being here for the pre-scalp. Okay, so as people are jumping on, they're saying they hear the tunes. Hey, give some feedback on this tune, this beat, in the comments, in the live chat. Tell us what you think about it. And I'll tell you what the backstory is behind this beat that you're listening to right now. Because maybe, Joe, this becomes the anthem for this show every Tuesday night. What do you think?
I like that, the anthem. Do you remember that song back in the day, the anthem?
Who sang it?
By Good Charlotte.
Good Charlotte? Were you a Good Charlotte fan?
It's like they only had like really two hits back in the day. The anthem was one, and Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous.
Hey Joe, I guess we got to keep telling people, hey, what's up, Blake? What's up, John? Pat, what's up, y'all? Hey, so 5 minutes leading up to the show. That's where this show is different from every other show out there that gets on and talks about lawns. There's no countdown timer that's gonna make you sit there and listen to the song alone and watch it count down till the show goes live. We're live, but we're just here to hang out for 5 minutes. This is your chance to come in and listen to us kind of do whatever we're gonna do. This is the unscripted, unplanned part of the show. Officially, the show doesn't start until 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. So this is your chance to come in and just hang out with us. Just for 5 minutes.
We got a lot of, just to address the chat, we do have some really good hard-hitting grass stuff tonight. It's going to be, it's going to get the juices flowing a little bit, I think. I think it's going to get some interaction with the chat. It's going to be fun. I'm actually really looking forward to it.
Me too.
And this is a beer. This is actually Cape May Brewery. It's the guys in my area will know Cape May is a shore town, and this is their gold, Cape May Gold. It's pretty good. It's like a lager.
It's funny you bring that up, Joe. I just saw an article. I can't remember where I read it, but it was talking about how the craft beers in the local hometown breweries are making it really tough on some of the old established brands like Budweiser and Miller and all that. So, I mean, they blew up here years ago like crazy.
We have a ton of, local, whatever you want to call them, microbreweries or breweries, whatever you want to call them. But the big thing in New Jersey is there's a law where the breweries, they can't have food trucks on their property now, which is bullshit. And then another thing is they're limited to how many events they can have. So like the Super Bowl would be an event. Like the NCAA tournament would be like an event, or if you had like a bridal shower or like a bachelor party, whatever. So you can only have so many of those a year, which is like cutting these establishments down to what they can have. And it sucks. It's kind of, the restaurants and the breweries are kind of like going back and forth with each other because they're taking a lot of business from each other. So it kind of sucks, but
10 years in that business, man, it is a tough business. Hey, what's up, JD? Hey, I want to say this. I want to tell folks where the tunes came from before we move on. Show's about to start, but this jam, it's called Siesta Fiesta, was sent by a new subscriber to me. One of his other hobbies is creating instrumental music online, and he sent this one to me and said, hey man, I want you to be the first to use one of my beats in one of your shows or one of your videos. And I thought, what better place than to kind of premiere this thing. His name is Kyle, so thank you, Kyle, for this jam. Like, he asked me, hey, what vibe you looking for? I'm totally cool with this. If that's what he loves mixing up, I'm down. I think it's good. Give us your feedback. Give Kyle your feedback in the comments below. We're in the live chat. We really appreciate him sending us this tune, Siesta Fiesta, to kick off the 5th, Joe, because we're out of time. The 5th edition of the program with no name. I need to get a mixer, Joe. Was that, I know you couldn't hear, but I need to get a mixer so I can kind of slowly bring down the tunes and not be so abrupt.
I used to DJ a little bit back in the day, growing.
That doesn't surprise me, Joe.
Yeah, I had some stories about that, but that'd be for another show.
Another show. This is our 5th live, and when I think of Live 5, I think of one of my old 90s bands, one of my favorite bands from the 90s growing up. Remember the band Live, Throwing Copper? Their 5th album was called Live 5, but this is the 5th time we're here on a Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. We got lots of lawn stuff. We got lots of other stuff. We just got stuff planned for you. We told you last week that right when we get finished with the show, Joe and I kind of have a post-show chat, and we start talking about, okay, what are we going to do next Tuesday? So we hope you enjoy what we've got on tap for you this evening. Be sure to leave us all your comments in the chat so we can see your feedback.
And before we begin, today in history, 1530, English King Henry VIII, divorce request is denied by the Pope. That's today in history.
There you go.
There was a couple other things. Alexander Graham Bell received a patent for the telephone, which is pretty big. I mean, I think without the telephone, me and you wouldn't be sitting here right now, and half of us wouldn't be on YouTube and doing this kind of thing. So that was in 1876. So
hey, speaking of me and you,
that's today in history.
Speaking of me and you not being here and possibly not even being needed, we'll get to that in a second. But first, you said patent. Hey, Joe, do you think our sponsor tonight has a patent on this product?
I don't think so. There'll be a lot of liability issues there. So, yeah.
Yeah, but Joe has just been on a roll. I don't know what it is with these sponsors. They keep reaching out to Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, this one,
my content.
This one might be one of the best ones we've seen yet.
This
what in the world is
this? This is the Air Raider Max 3000, guys. You can wear this in the grass. You can wear this in the shower. Once you go in the grass and you get it all muddy, you just go in the shower right with these little croc-looking little nail spikes on the bottom. You get them washed off, and then the next morning, you put them back on, and you go into the office. Everyone else is wearing it in the office, and then once you get home at the end of the day, what do? You walk the dog in them. And guess what? You don't break any ankles. These things are super sturdy, super comfortable. We all like Crocs. We all see our favorite lawn care YouTubers wear Crocs out there. And there's also a promo code, guys. The promo code is BoysLawn10. You get 10% off. Whoopie-doo. A big 10% off.
10.
All our followers.
I give it a 10. I give it a 10.
Try it.
Joe, gosh, the Air Maxes when I was a kid, I mean, you couldn't beat them now. To just think about it. The Air Raider Max 3000, 4 uses in one, and best of all, if you wear those darn things in your lawn, game over for everybody else. They can't keep up. They cannot.
Don't forget that promo code. It is an affiliate link. BoysLawn10, 10% off. Go try it out.
Joe,
that's all I can say.
If we keep these sponsors rolling in like this, I don't know. We may be big time before we even realize it. But
we're going to be rolling in the dough.
Right now, Joe, here's the crazy thing. We are not big time right now. And I'm kind of worried. I'm really kind of worried. Joe, after that email you sent me, it makes me wonder how much longer our services will actually be needed here on the old YouTube. Because unless you've been living under a rock or in a cave for the last few months, this whole chat AI thing is just getting out of control. And it's kind of scary because it may take away our YouTube jobs, Joe. Are you worried about that?
yes and no. I mean, it's kind of scary the stuff you can put into it and the information that pops out of it.
Well, when it's this
It's just
easy to
crazy. I
get
mean,
lawn care advice.
so what I did was I went on this chat, whatever it's called, Open Chat AI, and I wanted to know the lawn care basics or like the bare bone basics for the cool season grass. And what do you know? Number one is mowing. It's not anything else, that begins with an S and it has,
Joe,
has
I'll
two
say
words,
it. Come
S and
on,
a T.
it's a soil test. You put in
The soil
Chat
test. There you
AI,
go.
and you ask for bare bones lawn information, and this artificial intelligence is supposed to be smarter than any human being, and it doesn't tell you
Yeah.
that you have to do a soil test. How can that be, Joe? And that's why I'm worried about our jobs here, because we are
Yeah.
the bare bones channels for warm grass, Bermuda grass, myself, and cool season grass, tall fescue for you. They're coming for us, Joe. We're going to be rendered useless before you know it.
We're the hoppy. Sorry, I can't. It's been a long day. It's,
You're saying
we
hops.
Are
It's the beer. It's the beer.
Yeah, it's the beer. We're the hobbyists of the lawn care community out there. And what do you know? Number 2 on here is watering. It's watering, you guys. It's
What? How did you say
unbelievable.
that, Joe? How did you say
I watering.
water? You're
so-
trying
it's
way
so-
too hard there.
It is. It's so awkward actually trying to say it. It's actually really tough. But watering, yeah, watering is number 2. And that's one thing that I do too much of is overwatering, and I'm going to bring that way down this year. And what do you know? Number 3, fertilization. I mean, do a little 10-10-10, a little gardener's what's that called? Gardener's expert.
Expert gardener. So
Expert gardener.
because I buy that 10-10-10 expert gardener from Walmart, you know what that means, Joe?
You're doing good.
I'm an expert.
You're an expert.
I-
You're moving up the tier a little bit.
Just past. Just past.
We'll touch that in a little bit.
I'm not in the 4th grade. I'm not in the 5th grade. I'm in the 6th grade because I'm in the 6th grade and I use expert gardener from Walmart. So that makes me an expert.
That's the AP courses.
Yeah.
We get to the AP courses there. And then what do you know? Number 4 is weed control, and number 5 is aeration, which I hate aeration, but if you do it yourself, it's a pain in the ass to rent those machines. And mine actually fell off the back of my truck last year going down the ramp. Yeah.
And again, this is for cool season grass. Joe pulled this up from the Open Chat AI for bare bones basics.
It's pretty cool. I mean, you type it in there and it takes a few seconds and something will pop out like this. And I just thought it was very interesting that, when it comes to a hobbyist or someone like this, I mean, I think we all that get into this lawn care, this YouTube thing should know, like, the fundamentals of like the cool season grass or what kind of grass we're doing. And right here, I mean, this is pretty much the fundamentals or the bare bones of lawn care for cool seasons. My particular stuff where I live at cool season. And I'm sure a warm season would probably be pretty similar, but I just think it's kind of funny that this is what it's recommending. And hey, I do all of this. So I must be good. I'm good to go.
And that's what we talk about on both of our channels, Joe. I think that's how we kind of found common ground. If people are following my channel for warm season lawn care advice or yours for cool season, the fundamentals don't change for the two. Mow a lot, water properly, fertilize regularly, and take care of some weeds. I actually did a video this past weekend with lawn care basics, the bare minimum summed up in one single step. And if you want to improve your lawn and really do nothing else at all, just by mowing it more can really make a huge difference.
Big time. I mean, big time, especially when I kind of equate it back to when you do an overseed, and you're doing your first mowing and it's kind of still thin at the time. And once you start mowing and it starts to get thicker and it tillers out, I mean, that's the whole game, is try to get that lawn thicker and fuller. And then you don't have to do step number 4. You don't have to do a weed control because your lawn's going to naturally weed out that lawn. It's not going to, you don't have to throw down a ton of herbicide, or you might not even have to throw down a pre-emergent. I mean, there's about 1 million pre-emergent videos out there right now. And everybody's taking a different take this year on these pre-emergent videos. And I'm really getting sick of hearing about it. But
You want to hear
you
something
know,
interesting? At my old house, before I moved, I did not use a pre-emergent that fall or spring, I think it was. I wanted to test it because I'd always heard that, look, a thick lawn, if you've been on a regular pre-emergent schedule for a couple years at a time, that just that consistency along with a thick turf, eventually there's just not the environment or habitat there for weeds to make
yeah,
it. And
yeah.
my last season at the old house did not use a pre-emergent, but after 2 years of using one and generating this thick, dense Bermuda turf, I had virtually no weeds at all, never had to spray a post-emergent, never had to apply a granular pre-emergent, but doing all the cultural practices that we talk about all the time, the number one thing is just doing those and doing them consistently and not giving up. So Joe and I were talking about, okay, in this whole game of lawn care, if you're one of those people like us that wants to do mainly just the basics, what does that make us? Where do we kind of lie in the pecking order of lawn fanatics or fans or whatever you want to call it? Where do we lie? And what other tiers to the pyramid, might you say, Joe? What other
The pyramid.
levels to the lawn
Yeah.
care
So
pyramid?
so I got this pyramid thing from John Wooden. He was a famous UCLA coach back in the day, and he had this thing that's called the Pyramid of Success. So I kind of played off of his thing, and we're going to be naming this the Pyramid of Lawn Care. And we have at the top, obviously, the pros. I mean, they're the best of the best. And then in the middle there, we have the enthusiasts. And then at the bottom there, we have the hobbyists, the people. And we're kind of relating this back to, YouTube lawn care in a way. And, some of the creators that we see on there. And I think me and you fall in that, that hobbyist, that bottom tier. We're someone that just really enjoys, cutting the grass, keeping a nice lawn, a green lawn, doesn't want to go and dig deep into the whole, I hate to use the word, the science of it. And then, and maybe some of the others for an enthusiast, the people that I see as like more of hobbyists are, like Chuck from Daddy and All Day. He seems to like really
Good
like,
example.
you know, uh, get into it, like just not the nitty gritty, but just likes to have a nice lawn. And his content's fun. I like his content. Then you have for the enthusiast out there, I would put people like Ryan Knorr, someone that has an extremely mint lawn. He is a homeowner. He's not a professional that goes out into the real world. Turf therapy. He's another one. Rob. I mean, he really, if you watch his channel, he really gets into the nitty gritty of the science. And then actually another one I thought of before we came on was Cam from Elevated Lawnscapes. He likes to get into that as well. He has a nice lawn. And Mr. Ferguson, I think he's a little bit of an enthusiast as well. He goes a little nuts for me, but and then the pros. I mean, we have the pros. There's definitely a good bit of pros. I would say Alan Hain, LCN. I think he's been around a long time. He's gotten a lot of people started into the YouTube thing. GCI Turf, Pete, he's obviously he has a business. The Grass Factor, those guys, they're all professionals in their industry. And I think that's kind of how we all should kind of relate ourselves back to it when it comes back to this whole thing. And we talk about this community and it being so divided and things like that. There was somebody that did a live stream around the same time as us last week, and she said about how the community kind of like it's kind of like breaking down in a way, and it's not going in a good direction. And we'll get into maybe the reasons why because of that later. But when it comes back to it, I kind of like this pyramid. I kind of think we all should kind of fall into this kind of thing. And if we want to elevate our game, obviously there's another tier we can go to, and then there's another tier. But if we only want to just do what we want to do, we can just be in that one tier, and that's what we're gonna stick to. I
Well,
mean, that's how I feel.
what is the foundation of that pyramid, Joe? It's not even the hobbyists, it's not the enthusiasts, it's not the pros. Underneath there, and I've said this every single week we've been on this live stream, that we're all here because of grass. Our viewpoints, our opinions, our level of investment in our time and our money and our effort, however you want to look at it, does not have to be the same. It doesn't have to be equal. The only thing that has to be equal is we're all kind of weirdos because we like to talk about grass. The fact that we're even having this conversation is kind of strange to most people to begin with. So when it really comes down to it, as long as we're all here for grass, what does it matter if we're a pro or an enthusiast or a hobbyist? We can all be here to, like, I don't know, support each other and take jabs and fun with each other. I mean, if you're in my friend group, we always tell each other, if no one's really picking on you in your friend group, there's something wrong. Like, have you ever noticed, like, at your workplace, like, the ones that are getting picked on or kind of rizzed a lot are the ones that people like? It's usually the ones that aren't getting brought up in conversation or picked on. They're the ones that, don't mess with them. Don't bother them. So it's the fact that we're all here for lawn care, because you mentioned that you and I are in the hobbyist group along with Chuck from Dadding All Day. I think there's a lot of others. Like, we're the ones that we enjoy the process of it. We enjoy the physical labor of possibly the mowing for stress relief.
Yeah, I enjoy the mowing out of mostly anything, and the edging, having a nice edge on the lawn. I mean, you guys know, I mean, my dad had a lawn business, so that's all we did was cut grass, and I enjoyed cutting the grass and then seeing that nice crisp, cut lawn afterwards, and that's kind of like more appealing to me than anything is that part of it.
Because
And but but like going back to the fundamentals thing, I mean, what other hobbies that you have that like what fundamentals do you need to know for that hobby to enjoy, you know?
it's like in my video this past week, I used kind of a hypothetical analogy that I want to get into cars. Does that mean that I have to know how an engine fires and all the working components on the motor of a car? No. But I might just want to cruise in an old classic car and have much respect for the models and the makes and the different colors and designs and interiors and all that kind of stuff. So Joe and I were thinking, okay, if we fall in the hobbyist group, what is we're kind of maybe the bottom feeders because we don't care so much about science. It's okay if our lawn goes to hell in a handbasket at some point. It's okay if we're not on top of it 100% of the time, always asking why. How did that happen? What do I do to fix it? It's kind of one of those, we do it when we can for pleasure, and if things don't work out okay, great, we've got something else to work on. So we started thinking, okay, if we're in the hobbyist group, what does hobby actually mean, Joe?
And what do you know? It actually means, and this is from the Oxford Dictionary.
Oh, that was good, Joe.
An activity that you do for pleasure when you are not working. That's my best British accent.
So,
but it's an act of pleasure. It's not an act of researching and getting down to the nitty gritty. I do my woodwork and I do my sign making because I like it. I like going into the garage. I like painting. I like printing out my stencils and creating the signs. And yeah, did I have to figure out some stuff on my own? Yeah, but I didn't go nuts about it. And yeah, if I screw up a little bit, I'll just start a new one or fix what I have. And I think a lot of people forget the definition of what they're doing or when they're doing something. And you can see there the Cinnamons interests and pastime. I mean, my interest is lawn care, my interest is wood making, my interest is basketball, sports, whatever. I mean, I don't know every rule of the NFL. And just because I don't know every rule of the NFL doesn't mean I can't like the sport or get into the sport.
I couldn't
I
tell
mean, I
you
w-
what
you
half of the
know,
positions are on the field. Like I know them by
yeah,
name. I don't know where they're lining up. I love listening to music. I can't play an instrument to save my life. I can't
mhm.
look, aside from sixth grade trombone class where I was first chair for like a day, I couldn't pick out a note in a sheet of music to save my life. But they're still my hobbies. I do them when I'm not working. I do them in my free time. I don't want to be, I don't have to be a professional know it all perfectionist when it comes to those things. So I think
and
I
if
adequately
and it
fit in hobby.
Yeah, and if you want to, obviously you can go up to the next tier. You can go to an enthusiast, someone that wants to go above and beyond, and that's fine if you want to be labeled that. And I respect those people that are those people for putting in the time into wanting to, dig deeper into it. And if that gives them additional pleasure and, happiness, great. But not everybody is the same. And let's just leave it at that.
So,
That's how I feel, and I think that's how we both feel, and we'll leave it at that.
so Joe, I'm a hobbyist. I think you would consider yourself a hobbyist. I mean, look, if you're here on this stream because you want to hear some lawn care tips or some lawn care advice, Joe, I've got one. I don't know what it's like up there in South Jersey right now, but I got somebody the other day that was around my area and they said, "Hey, man, when would you normally put your pre emergent down? Dude, it has been so warm here. Get it down now. If you're in the transition zone in the Oklahoma, Arkansas, Southern Missouri, that area, I'm in Northwest Arkansas, get the pre-emergent down now. The long range forecast looks like there's no major dip in temperatures. It's going to cool off with some rain, which would the rain be great to water in your pre-emergent. But I'm telling you, spring has sprung early. It's not to say that winter's completely over because I would imagine we're still going to see another frost or freeze at some point late March, early April. But for all intents and purposes, I would be thinking about right now, if it's warm, unseasonably warm in your area, get the pre-emergent down. Like I don't follow soil temperatures. I just kind of go with what my body feels and what my eyes see. And I
You
can
can't do that. You can't.
can I
They're gonna
not?
tell you. No, you're
I
not
can,
allowed to.
oh,
Well,
because
that's right. You're a hobbyist, so it's okay.
because here's how I know. When I walk in my backyard up along the bricks, guess what the Bermuda's doing?
It's checking out of dormancy.
It's coming out of dormancy. Now,
Yeah.
it's a south facing wall and the bricks are white and it heats up the soil there along the bricks a lot faster. But if I'm seeing any green anywhere in the
Mhm.
Bermuda, I know things are getting warm. Not to mention, dandelions are already yellow, they're blooming. So, fortunately, I got a
Yeah.
pre emergent down a couple weeks ago out of schedule because of the new sod. But if I were you, get it down now. That's all I can say for us warm season in the transition zone, folks, with an above average late winter so far. But Joe, you probably have, I don't know, you tell us. Have you done we got to look at your lawn today from
Yeah.
yesterday, right?
This was yesterday. Yeah. I mean, you could see my lawn is green. I mean, it's still brownish in spots, but it's starting to green up, and it's been like this over the past. I would say it's about the past month or so. It's been starting to green up a little bit more and more each day. And I mean, but we're still like right now on my computer, it's 34 degrees outside. The winds were howling today. It was cold. And it's just the weather. It's so unpredictable right now. But I feel like I'm gonna miss my window in a way. And I've talked to some people in my area that they're gonna get down their pre-emergent soon, just to be safer, just to be safe, because and buy yourself a little bit of time, because I've seen some people put it down when the soil temps hit that 55 or the 50-degree mark, and I've seen people that put it down before, and I think I'm gonna probably put it down earlier this year. I've never put one down before actually. And so this will be my first year doing it. And I hope this is like the only year I have to do it, and really just thicken that lawn up over the course of this year. Hopefully go into the fall time and really not have to do an overseed and spend money on seed this year. And but that's
What
my plan, is to hopefully
what's
get
your
it down soon.
what's your pre-emergent of choice? Which one are you
Prod-
rolling with?
I just did prodiamine, a 007 prodiamine,
Is
and
that what's the
nothing
brand?
special.
What's the bag label on that?
People are gonna hate me in the chat, but I bought it from Yard Mastery.
I,
'Cause it was just convenient, and I just was like, I'll buy it. What the hell?
somebody said, and I get it. We
I
just
could have went to Lowe's or Home Depot and got
the
it.
Lesco
And
007, I think it is.
yeah, and it was the bag's 15,000 square feet. So my front lawn's 5,000 square feet, and then the other 10,000, I'm just gonna go over to my sister's house that I fertilize her yard for her, and I'm just gonna use the other 10,000 on her lawn, and then there you go. I'm done. 15,000, boom. I used the whole bag. I don't have to worry about holding it for next year or saving it for the fall time. It's done. One shot. I don't have to worry about it. So that's kind of why I bought it as well. It was exactly what I needed.
So for the folks in your area, you're getting your pre-emergent down. I would recommend in my area, get it down to. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I think there's this idea, and I think maybe this is where the difference in a hobbyist and enthusiast might come in, or a pro, because pros, that's their job, to prevent weeds from even getting in a client's yard. An enthusiast is really going to try to time that out with soil temps and really make sure they have done everything within their power to prevent weeds come spring and summer. Where me, it's like, okay, I'm going to time it out the best I can. If weeds do break through, what's the worst that it can happen? I've got to mix up a little post-emergent or use a hose in and knock them out before they mature or they go to seed or whatever it is they're going to do that might make them worse in the yard. Last year, you saw in the new yard, in my house last year, I did not use one single post-emergent on the new sodded lawn last year. And if you saw what it looked like in spring compared to what it looked like late summer, just from mowing a bunch and watering properly, it was crazy. So look, hobbyists, I've had to go the post-emergent route before, where I already had some crabgrass, I already had some nutsedge, I already had some white clover. It's really not that difficult to get rid of that stuff. It really isn't.
Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, you can go to your big box store and get a post-emergent weed control if you wanted to, and spray it down, and you'll be good to go. I mean, you don't gotta go nuts. I mean, crabgrass. If you got a couple things of crabgrass, just get a screwdriver or a weed puller, and you can pull it out yourself. I mean, that's what I was doing along my sidewalk last year, where most of my crabgrass was, where the curb and the street is. We have black. We just got our streets paved black, and it gets really hot. And I just went out there with the weed puller and just took my bucket and just started pulling it out. And
I love pulling weeds.
you know,
I've got this little bitty. I don't even know
but
what
pulling
size
out doesn't always work though.
now
So
you got to be careful, because if you
gotta be
leave
careful with
if
that.
you leave the seed in there, like the sedge, the nut, then it compounds the problem, and then it just gets worse from there. Do you like grass? Is that meant to be like, oh, there's Travis again from Budget Lawns. I don't even know why he does this. Why is he even on here talking about? Look, I teach 6th and 7th graders all day long, and the fanboys make them look like the most mature, well-rounded, professional people I've ever met. It's amazing. So I don't know what kind of question that is, but if they think that trying to get it,
We like grass. If you know anything about our channels,
if you, If you
And
think
what we've done, if you know anything about our channels and what we've done, at least I've been on YouTube for almost 2 years, and you've been on for I don't know what 4 years now, probably or
Joe,
5 years.
it must be one of those
Yeah,
enthusiasts coming in and getting butthurt that we're not speaking his language. I don't know, but gosh, I've always laughed. Like everybody saw some of the little squabbles with me and the fanboys. You know who I'm talking about. Like that was so much fun for me. That was so much like entertainment and humor because to think that when I'm not at work teaching 6th and 7th graders all day, that you can get to me as a male adult. I mean, we're talking about dealing with 6th and 7th graders during the day and then elementary style behavior in the evenings and afternoons on YouTube. My 6th and 7th graders are so more well behaved and so much more enjoyable than the fanboys. That's why our show on our thumbnail tonight is so elementary because gosh, I've never seen something so childish and immature than the fanboys, and they know who I'm talking about. They know who I'm talking about. So elementary. All right, enough of that. Super TA, thank you, bro.
thank you,
Appreciate
CTA.
that, man.
My South Jersey
Appreciate
brother.
that.
Thank you.
But hey, if your fanboys aren't coming on Tuesday nights, we invite them to come back too. We invite them to come back too. They've been MIA after they spent so much time in the chat talking to themselves in the chat, talking to themselves. Okay, that's more time than should be devoted to clowns. Joe, you're getting your pre-emergent down. What's the next step for you on a cool season lawn? Where do you go from there?
So I actually decided today what I want to do. So the brand that I'm using this year is Turf Titan. I actually met them at GIE this year, and they were super nice. The owner, and then one of their marketing guys, and we started talking. I actually ran into Clint, the neighbor dominator, there, and he's worked with them in the past. And Clint was like, you gotta go over to the booth. You gotta go over to the booth, go talk to him. And Clint was super nice in person. He's exactly like what you see on YouTube, which is really cool to see. And so I got talking to them. So I'm going to use that liquid approach in some of my yard around the beginning of April. And I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. And I still have some stuff left over from last year. I have a 5-gallon bucket of my 1825 that I used last year from Plant Specialty. Shout out to Mike from Plant Specialty. And what I want to do is one section do granular in the beginning of April, and then in the other section do the liquid. And I kind of just want to compare the two to see what will happen. And I'm not 100% sure yet if I'm going to do the program I did last year, because I still have enough, I think, for the one section of my lawn. It's about 700 square feet, about 800 maybe. And then the other half, I'm going to do the Turf Titan. So maybe just to compare the two. And but that's my plan in the beginning of April.
Joe, I want to talk about that. People that have followed my channel and they followed your channel, they know that you've dabbled in some of the brands that have made offers to you to use our stuff, do some honest reviews, tell us what you think, tell your fan base what you think, and if you follow my channel, I've never done that. I get people reach out to me all the time. It's just not something I want to do. I love my job as a teacher. I do that during the day. I do YouTube on the side for fun as a hobby, not a job. I don't want to be beholden to anyone and feel like I have to promote or do videos for any products. So if I ever talk about that, I know it ruffles people's feathers when I mention that I have no affiliate links and I'm not a salesman and all these things. That is no dig at somebody else, Joe. If it were a dig at somebody else, then you and I wouldn't be doing this show right now because you've done it before. And it's no dig at somebody else. It is just part of what's called branding. We all can't be the same channel here on YouTube. That is simply my branding for Budget Lawns. I've done that since July of 2019. That was how I started this channel. That was the audience I was trying to reach, and I'm not going to change. It is not a dig at anyone. It is merely how I have chosen to brand my YouTube channel. Now, if that upsets people, then maybe it upsets them because they don't like the way they've chosen to brand theirs, or they don't like that other people are talking bad about it. But that's how marketing and branding and channels and businesses work. After being a business owner for 10 years, um, that's what we do. We pick an audience and we speak to them. I'm seeing Spectracide Weed Stop for the win. Just so you know, I have never gotten contacted by Spectracide. I have never received a dime from an affiliate link for Spectracide. I have never in any way, shape, form, or fashion been connected to Spectracide. I have only used Spectracide because I am as frugal as can be, and walked into Lowe's one day and I could get two the hose ends for like $5 a piece on sale. And that's when I started using Spectracide products. And I'm only speaking from genuine, authentic, real results. And when I tell you that you can trust them, there's no bias there, Joe. So that leads us into another topic of conversation. And I ask you this because you mentioned you're doing Turf Titan. How do you find it when you're creating your videos? Does that have any play in what you say at all?
Well, so a lot of people don't realize, and I'll get back to the Turf Titan thing in a second, but this is how it works with affiliate links. You got company A, it could be whoever, Toro, whatever, it could be Turf Titan, whatever. They're going to send you free product that's to the influencer. The influencer, in my opinion, forms a bias opinion. A bias forms to it because they're getting a commission. They're going to get an affiliate link. And then that they're going to start creating the content, on YouTube and the Reels and TikTok and everything. And that's going to lead to potential customers that are going to buy. That turns into a customer that, obviously the company benefits from. And then the kickback goes to the influencer. And that's how affiliate marketing works. And
there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, there's not. And I've always been, and I'll be honest with people, I was always jealous of those people early on that got the free product and got the free lawnmowers from Toro. And I really didn't like Toro for that and things like that. And I've kind of came to terms with the whole thing this year with the whole affiliate marketing. And but what I liked about Turf Titan is their whole approach was, we'll send you out product, but we don't care if you put an affiliate link out there. We want you to use it. We want you to see what you think of it. And we don't want you to feel like you have to sell it. And I love that. I love that approach from them. And, and now I was sold on it. I was sold, you know what? I'm going to give you guys a try because you're not going to be telling me to put an affiliate link in any of my videos or driving the product down everyone's throat to buy. And I like that. I like that you want people to use it. You want people to try it and then form, their own opinion on it. And obviously there's people out there that have used it and that have liked it in the past seasons. Like I said, Clint used it last year and he really liked it. But I mean, I just, some of these creators in the past that just, every friggin' short or every friggin' reel is a product promotion. And and again, I like I said, I've gotten jealous before for people with the free product and I'm coming to the terms with, you know what, who cares? Just let the people do what they want. And I hope people wake up a little bit and understand what an affiliate link is. And don't get me wrong, these companies that do affiliate marketing, obviously they want to do it.
They're all doing it, not just in lawn care.
It's cheap advertising. They don't have to have a marketing team. They don't have to have a full-fledged marketing video editing team. They can just send the product out there and let people create the content for them. Don't get me wrong. It's a cheap form of advertising. It's good for a company, And
again, there's nothing wrong with it. It's, how much money I've probably left on the table. And there's really no other way to put it. I've probably backed myself into a corner now to where if the best opportunities came along, I would probably lose a vast majority of my fan base if I decided to jump onto the other side of the fence. But for me, in the way YouTube and lawn care works, that's not going to happen. I never say never, but I'm just saying right now, it's not going to happen.
The thing that drove me the most, that drives me the most nuts is, the people say, "Oh, it's not a biased opinion." I really genuinely like this product, but there is. I don't care what anybody says. You form a bias when it comes to being an affiliate, and if especially if you haven't even used the product for a full year, and that's what I wanted to do last year with the plant specialty program. I wanted to honestly say to if I used it again this year, I wanted to honestly say to someone if it worked or not. I didn't want to use a 5 or 10 different products on my lawn, and I don't know which one works. Like which one did this and which one did that. When I'm using all these different products on my lawn, you're going to form a bias when it comes to this stuff because obviously you see dollar signs, you think you're going to get rich off of it, or I don't probably not. You're probably not going to get rich off of it, but it's just there's always some sort of bias when it comes to this stuff, and I know I keep bringing that word up, but that's the truth. And honestly, I'm looking for more creators, and I want more people this year on YouTube to get away from the product driven thing. And I think some of these YouTubers have said that they're going to get away from that and get to just I like the guys like I don't know if you watch this guy, but the Dad Bod Lawn. I love his little reels that he puts together because it's not he has his brand with the Lawn Feed and Rooted Lawn Co. and Oak, but he really puts time into his reels. They're funny, they're skits, they're like it's just not all product to him. He wants to have fun with it, and I like those kind of people now that are they're trying to make like maybe a story or have like a little character or something. And I've really enjoyed his content this past winter. And if you're listening, Dad Bod Lawn, like continue to do what you're doing because that's the kind of things we need in this so-called community is people like him to make it fun and not make it all about the product, the product, the science, the soil test, the N, the P, the K, everything. Let's make it fun again. Like, like the lawn tools, some of their shit might be crazy as hell and might be annoying at times, but at least he's thinking of stuff. He's putting stuff out there, and it's just not all to the nitty gritty.
And
And I want to. That's what I want to see this year. That's what I'm hoping for this year is for people just to try something different.
and the carrot, I think the carrot is that these companies dangle out there is just too hard to resist for people because they look at it as the free stuff they get. I always approached it with not what can I get, but what can I give people who choose to spend their time watching my videos that I can give them, and in turn, hopefully that will help build an audience for me, and I can get what I want out of it, meeting new people, helping people. Look, my background is in broadcasting, shooting and editing videos. Yes, I could produce way higher quality videos and put so much more time and effort into it, but that takes time away from my wife and my kids and my family and all my other hobbies, watching Razorback sports, listening to music, going to play golf if I get an opportunity. So it's all about balance. And I have found that there's not enough room in my balancing to devote any time to any companies out there who want to send me stuff. I just got an email the other day for a robot mower. Hey, we want to send you a robot mower and our blower and our trimmer and all this other product. I get something almost every day, and just the thought of having to produce content, feeling like I'm not doing it for myself, that I'm doing it for someone else, and then feeling some sort of pressure to say good things because it's kind of implied, right? When they give you stuff, whether you tell your audience it's
See, that's where
it's tricky, right?
no, that's where I cut it off. I don't care if you're giving me an affiliate link or not. Like if I don't like the product, I'm gonna let people know. And if you and guess what? If that burns bridges with that company, so be it. Just like I did a video last year about Gardena. They sent me their hose reel. They're based in Europe. And I saw all these people, oh, this is the greatest hose reel in the world, and this and that. And I'm like, you guys are missing the most obvious thing about this hose reel is that the connections that don't work with what we have in the United States. It's like you guys got to mention that most of our hose nozzles have a female end, and their end of their hose is a female end. You can't put a female with a female. I mean, hey, I mean if that's what you like, but I mean you can't do that with a hose reel. And I'm just like, I don't care. I don't, and Gardena, they were mad about it, but guess what? I'm gonna put it out
They
there.
can't get mad
So,
at
so
you.
because I look at it this way, other people are using their hard-earned money for that product, and I want them to know fully everything about that product before they buy it, you
Well,
know?
at some point, from a creator standpoint, you got to realize too that maybe you're the one being taken advantage of. Not only are you being taken, because that's why these companies do this, because as you said before, it's all very cheap advertising. They don't have to
Oh, yeah.
they don't have to buy camera equipment. They don't have to know
No.
how to edit. They don't have to know how to produce videos. They don't have to be the talent, have a
Yeah.
personality. They get other people to do it. So they think that because they're doing something good for you, that you have to, wink, wink, return the favor in your video. When that's where it's hard to determine whether or not you're getting genuine, authentic feedback or
That's where the bias forms
a
in. That's why I keep
bias
bringing it up.
formed.
Yeah. Yep.
Just to bring it back full circle, Joe, we're having this
Yeah.
conversation, and I know, and I get it. Someone commented last week. We don't have to point out what other channels are doing. Truthfully, I find these kinds of conversations interesting. I'm not
Yeah.
in this just for grass. I'm not in it just for YouTube. I'm in this because I really enjoy, after being a business owner for 10 years, marketing and branding and strategy and how to build an audience and connect with an audience and give an audience what they want. So if you don't like us making comparisons and contrasting ourselves with other people, it has nothing to do with trying to make anyone look bad. It's just a way to continue our branding. As I told somebody once
We're just
before,
trying to we're just trying to get people to have an open mind
and join the
think,
conversation,
yeah, and
not
just think differently, and not always. I think a lot of people have gotten brainwashed the last 3 years of watching YouTube lawn care, and it's time to open up these people's minds a little bit and think differently. And that's what I was trying to do last year. And yeah, maybe I didn't do it so tastefully going after some people, but
it's a new year,
I'm gonna
Joe. It's a new
it's a
year,
new
my
year.
friend.
I'm going to try and have an open mind this year and just let people do what they want. And hey, and credit to you for those people reaching out to you. I mean, that just goes to show you that you've built a brand, built a subscriber base, a viewership. I mean, credit to you and kudos to you for doing that. I mean, that's true. That should just make yourself proud alone. So
Well, I
good
appreciate
for
that,
you.
Joe. And I tell people all the time, I've said it already, I teach sixth and seventh graders, and they find out about my YouTube channel. And there's one piece of advice, really two, that I give them all the time. The first thing is you better have fun doing it, because if it's not fun, just walk away. The second thing is you better have really thick skin. Now, I know some people will listen to this and laugh and say, oh, he doesn't have thick skin, he's got thin skin. No, you think that because I'm actually pretty darn good at playing the game. So I find a way to make you think the way you want to perceive things, so you'll keep playing with me. But I tell my students, you better have fun and thick skin, because if you don't have fun and you're real sensitive, you're going to get destroyed over this. So I think sometimes the initial motive for some people is, ooh, if I start a channel, I can get free product and I might be able to make a little money on the side from commissions and affiliate links and all that stuff. And it's the wrong way to start. It's the wrong way to build your fan base. Have fun.
That's what I thought earlier.
Show people you love it. Show people that you don't just love your lawn, but you're there for them. Respond to comments. Get to know your fans. You're not fans. I mean, I call people on my channel my friends. They're my friends. They're not. I mean, you could say fans, subscribers, whatever you want, but to me, it's really a community on Budget Lawns, where everywhere else it really so much has its. It's not felt like a community, because it's almost like what's the old 80s movie, The Outsiders? Was it with Pony Boy? Was it The Outsiders and the Preps, or the whatever it was? Do you remember that movie? It had like Ralph Macchio and Tom Cruise and Emilio Estevez. I know some of our folks in the chat tonight, they remember The Outsiders.
I'm a 90s kid.
Well, maybe it might have been early 90s. Who could give us in the chat the year or decade of the movie The Outsiders. I remember watching it growing up. Hey, also guys in the chat, if you're in the chat, thank you. We do appreciate you. I know this is an unconventional lawn show. We're talking lawn stuff, but if you ask Joe and I, how long can we sit here talking about tips? And I know why some of the other channels do it for hours on end. It's because they're giving you tips and people just keep feeding them tips. You know what I mean? They keep feeding them money. So why wouldn't they go for 5 hours if they're going to make $600? This is an unconventional lawn show. We appreciate you joining us. We do ask that you give us a thumbs up. That stuff really matters. Okay, the comments
Smash
really
that
do
like
matter.
button,
and
click that like button, whatever you want to do.
I always cringe when creators do this. But it really does matter. And as we try to grow this show, we want you to let people know that this is not a typical lawn show. We're gonna talk about things that are lawn related that we hope you find enjoyable, that are applicable to this kind of weird YouTube live stream lawn care world. Because if you ask me, I can't watch a lawn tip live stream. It's boring as beans. I mean,
you can't sit there for 3 hours.
It's horrible.
And watch a guy answer a bunch of questions. I mean, come on.
There's college basketball on right now. Gonzaga and St. Mary's are playing in their conference championship. You don't have like four different camera angles that you look at the whole time on a live stream either. No. Look, it's enough for me to set this one GoPro up and roll with it. So give us your feedback on what we're doing here, because it really does help us kind of steer the ship in the direction it needs to go for you and for us, so that we all have.
We promise next week we'll get into a little. I think this week was heavy on lawn care or ish related topics, but next week we promise we'll try and transition a little bit into more non-lawn care, maybe like halfway into the episode.
Well, Joe,
but I think that we should finish up the episode with the little thing that you
do you want to do that? Do you want to do you want to do it? You want me to go ahead and get it geared up and ready to go? Okay, so we figured that since this is a conversation about who's a hobbyist, who's an enthusiast, who is a professional, I've always liked the joke, and I can't remember how it goes, but I'm not going to say, you got to.
Yeah, you don't want to say that.
Yeah, you got to this, and you got to marry one, and it's. So I told Joe, I said, okay, what if we, in the spirit of the hobby conversation, we pose this question to folks on the live stream. We say, here's how it works. One of these things never existed. You get to keep one, but you have to give one up. The three categories are sports, music, and lawn care. This was something, Joe, we used to do all the time at the restaurant when I owned it for a decade. We would always say, if you had to give up one of the two, music or sports, what would it be? Well, that kind of struck this idea into my mind, and I intentionally did this. I'm waiting on someone to make fun of me for the My Own Prison Creed album from late 90s, I think it was, which I'm not going to lie, that CD is in my CD player in my truck right now. So I'm a 90s.
Do you know what I put up there? Do you ever hear
Mumford
that
and Sons?
Okay,
Yeah,
Mumford and Sons. Okay.
And so Joe put together this graphic. I'm a huge Razorback fan. He is a big Eagles fan. I used the Expert Gardener 1010. He is Joe that looked like a yard master.
I just had yard master just to throw it in there. Screw with everybody.
Here's the thing, Joe. People. I wear a yard mastery hat sometimes, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, did you like go over to the dark side and bail on us?" And
at the end of the day, the fertilizer works. Maybe it's not the most efficient or cost effective, but guess what? It works. It worked on my lawn. I went in a different direction. That's the end of it. But
here's the thing, Joe. Yeah, I want to say this. People ask me about my yard mastery hat. Are you doing all that now? Look, I would be a liar if I said that Alan had nothing to do with me being encouraged or inspired to start a YouTube channel. I think all of us sitting here can say that he is the lawn father, the godfather of getting all of us into this on YouTube. You can deny it if you want, but that just means you're in denial, because my respect to him goes there. I don't have to be an affiliate. I don't have to use their products, but I will still at least respect the man for building a lot of this for us. So I'm seeing some, I'm seeing that too, John. I can't get rid of sports or music. I would have to say
sports would go Super TA. Ah, come on.
I've got keep sports, give up music. Lawn care never existed. Sports and music are two big
honestly,
chunks of my life.
I'm kind of on the same page. That's kind of when you proposed this to me, and I was working on the graphic. I was like, man, I really have to think about this. And,
it's tough, man.
But yeah, I like so for me, I can't. I gotta keep sports. I listen to sports radio all day. 94 WIP Philly, obviously sports.
And that's the thing you have to think about.
You know?
If you don't have
really
sports, you don't have sports
music.
radio.
Yeah, I the only time this is pretty funny, but the only time I listen to music is honestly Christmas time.
No,
because like usually Thanksgiving comes around, we got our one station over here that switches over pretty early to Christmas music, and I'm listening to Christmas music, and then I'll go back to my sports talk after Christmas time.
So you're giving up music?
I'm giving up music. Yeah.
Dude, I just could not imagine, because imagine sports without music. So imagine lawn care without music.
Well, what do you mean by music with like what? Like NFL films, like the music in the background
just being an athlete,
I just think the fans
listening to music.
Like the crowd noise is kind of like what music is.
I don't know, man. Music.
I don't know how passionate you guys are down there.
But music has become part of the college sport scene. Like we have DJs at the stadiums now. Hey, Joe,
I'll never understand between college and pro sports.
As much as I'm loving the conversation here that we're talking about when it comes to one never existed, one you got to give up, and one you get to keep. There is Made You Look Lawn Care has asked a very inquisitive question, Joe, and I want to answer that because hey, Made You Look, yes or no? Is this your first time in on the live stream, or is this just kind of that? What in the hell moment? What is Joe, formerly Joe the Lawn Warrior, doing here on Budget Lawns? Well, Joe, I love you, but I'm going to jump over to just me for a second. And I do have to say, we have about 3 minutes left. Okay, here's how this worked out, Made You Look Lawn Care. I think you and I were both probably in the same camp at some point where we were like, this Joe the Lawn Warrior needs to shut his trap. He's driving me crazy, probably not giving lawn care on YouTube the greatest look. Would you agree with that? I was never the biggest fan of Joe, and come to find out, not surprising to me, not that I blame him, this redneck hillbilly all the way down here in the South, and him being from South Jersey, he didn't much care for me as much either, right, Joe? You hear me?
I would agree.
So neither of us were necessarily fans of each other, and we've told this story before over a couple episodes now that somehow Joe reached out on Instagram, and that was kind of just the catalyst for conversation. And we got to chatting more about lawn care and our opinions and things like that. Many things we disagreed on, many things we agreed on. And the fact that he's from Jersey and I'm from Arkansas, cool season, warm season, one day just out of the clear blue, I just said, hey, Joe, you interested in a live show? All these other people are doing them. I think we could, have some really down-to-earth, authentic conversations about lawn care and life. And Joe said, let's do it. So that's how we're here. And we hope that people jump on here and kind of ask the question, what in the world am I looking at? how did these two clowns end up together?
You know what it really is too?
What's that, Joe?
It's that accent.
Oh,
There's a guy that calls in all the time on sports radio. He's from Tennessee. He always goes, "What's happening, fellas? How you all doing?" And I'm just like, I love that. I love that. And he's like a diehard Eagles fan.
oh. Well, thank you, Made You Look. Hey, this is Made You Look Lawn Care's first time on. Look, we have 32 seconds left, Joe.
Damn.
That puts us at an hour and 5 minutes, but only an hour for the actual run time of the show. And as our deal is, if we're on over an hour, the offer still stands. You can slap us in the face. Hey, Lawn Maverick, check it out. We just explained all that. Instagram message randomly from Joe. That's
First
how we
episode,
connected.
Joe.
That's how we ended up here. This was episode live 5 of the program with no name. Joe, we better go. We're going to get slapped. Have a good night, everyone.